Starving alien woman ate from a dog's bowl on the street until a human gave her a hot meal. Rain slicked the cracked sidewalks of the city, turning the trash into soggy clumps of paper and cardboard. Neon lights reflected in the puddles, but under one flickering sign, a figure crouched low, thin fingers trembling as she scooped mush from a dog's bowl. The mutt growled, lips curled, but even the dog seemed to sense the desperation in her movements. She wasn't a thief.
She was starving.
The alien woman's gray skin was stretched tight over bones, her hollow eyes glowing faintly blue in the night. She licked her fingers, uncaring of the filth. A crowd passed nearby, humans in coats and umbrellas. None looked her way. They had seen aliens before, displaced refugees from wars and crashed ships. But to them, she was just another beggar in the gutter. Except for one man. Ethan Cross carried a bag of groceries home after a long shift. He wasn't rich, not even close. His apartment was small, his job at the repair shop barely paid rent. But as he turned the corner, his gaze fell on her, kneeling in the rain, bent over a metal bowl, shivering. The sight rooted him to the ground. The dog snarled again, snapping at her hand, and she flinched back, eyes darting around. She tried to crawl away, ashamed, when Ethan's voice broke through. "Hey!" She froze. Her thin frame shook like a leaf. Slowly, she lifted her face toward him. Drops of rain clung to her lashes. "You'll get sick eating that," Ethan said softly. He stepped closer, ignoring the mutt that barked once before slinking away. The alien woman's lips trembled. She opened her mouth, but only a broken whisper came. "Hun, gry." Ethan looked down at the grocery bag in his hand. He thought about the meager meals he planned to stretch over the week. But looking at her, ragged clothes, bruised arms, the mark of chains still visible on her wrists, he felt his chest tighten. "Come with me," he said. "I've got food. Real food. Hot meal, not that." Her eyes widened, suspicion flickering. She had learned to distrust humans. Too many had spat on her, thrown scraps at her like she was an animal. She shook her head quickly, backing away. "Trap." "No trap," Ethan said. He slowly crouched down, holding the grocery bag out like an offering. "Just food. And a dry place. That's all." Her stomach growled so loud he could hear it over the rain. For a long moment she studied him, her glowing eyes searching his face. Then, with a hesitance born of too many betrayals, she nodded. Ethan's apartment was nothing special, just a single-bedroom walk-up with peeling wallpaper and a heater that rattled when it turned on. But when the alien woman stepped inside, dripping and shaking, she looked around as if she had entered a palace. He gave her a towel. She pressed it to her face, inhaling like she had never held anything so soft. In the kitchen, Ethan set to work. He boiled pasta, chopped vegetables, opened a jar of tomato sauce. The smell soon filled the room, and he saw her standing in the doorway, eyes wide, breathing it in. "You can sit," he said, pointing to the small table. She obeyed, silently. Her hands twisted in her lap, nervous. When he placed the steaming bowl of pasta in front of her, she stared at it like it was a dream. Slowly, she reached for the fork, but her hands shook so badly she dropped it. "It's okay," Ethan said gently, picking it up and handing it back. She tried again. This time she managed to scoop up noodles, though clumsily. The first bite made her whole body jolt. Tears welled in her glowing eyes as she devoured the food, one mouthful after another, barely stopping to breathe. Ethan watched quietly, a lump in his throat. When at last she slowed, she looked up at him. "Why?" Her voice was hoarse but clearer now. "Why what?" "Why, give me food. Humans laugh. Kick. Call me beast." She lowered her gaze. Why help?
Ethan leaned back, sighing.
Because you're not a beast. You're starving. And no one deserves to eat from a dog's bowl. She blinked, confused by the simplicity of his answer. What's your name? Ethan asked. The alien woman hesitated, then whispered, Sarah. Over the following days, Sarah remained in Ethan's apartment. At first, she slept curled on the floor, too afraid to take the bed he offered. She would wake at every sound, trembling, expecting chains or blows. But slowly, with each hot meal and kind word, she began to relax. Ethan learned fragments of her story. Sarah was from a world destroyed in the last interstellar conflict. Her people had been scattered, many sold as laborers. She had escaped captivity, but found only cruelty on the streets. Ethan didn't push for details. He simply kept feeding her, letting her heal. One night, as they shared soup at the tiny table, Sarah suddenly spoke. When I ate from the dog's bowl, I wanted to die. She looked at him with shining eyes. Then you came. Ethan felt his throat tighten. He reached across the table, placing his hand gently over hers. You're safe now. Her fingers curled around his leg. She was holding on to the first solid thing she'd found in years. Weeks passed. Sarah gained strength, her thin frame filling out. She even laughed once, soft and broken, but real, when Ethan burned toast and cursed at the old toaster. Still, whispers spread in the neighborhood. People saw the alien woman coming and going from Ethan's apartment. Some muttered insults. Others warned him she was dangerous. One evening, a group of men confronted Ethan outside the building. You keeping that creature in there? One spat. Better throw her out before she steals from you, or worse. Ethan clenched his fists. She's not a creature. Her name is Sarah. The men sneered, but Ethan didn't back down. When he returned inside, Sarah was curled by the window, having overheard. They hate me, she whispered. Let them, Ethan said firmly. You've got me. That's enough. She looked at him for a long moment. Then, for the first time, she smiled. One rainy night, like the first time they met, Sarah cooked for him. The meal was clumsy, the flavor strange, but Ethan ate every bite. You saved me, she said softly as he finished. I will never forget. You don't owe me anything, Ethan replied. But Sarah shook her head. No, I stay. I help. I belong. Ethan smiled, warmth blooming in his chest. The starving alien woman who once ate from a dog's bowl now sat across from him, alive, hopeful, and no longer alone. And he knew, with absolute certainty, that he would never let her starve again.